Great. Let's move into configure a simple ingress traffic section. We already have an ingress traffic installed as part of our K3D cluster. The problem is it's not properly configured. It is not properly configured. In fact, if we open our browser and we type https :/ and we paste the VM or the host name that is prefixed with the no name label. My apologies. There you go. We're going to see that is already accessible. Our cluster is already accessible. We have a cluster with an ingress traffic configured where port 80 and port 443 is exposed to the rest of the world. Case in point. Of course, we have a self-signed certificate to contend with. So we need to select advanced, proceed. By the way, if you're on a Mac and you don't see these options, chances are you're using one of those weird versions of Chrome on Mac where you have to type "this is unsafe" anywhere on this window. Just type it in and then you're going to be able to proceed. Okay. Now, I'm going to proceed and you will see we're getting 404 page not found. Why? Because the configuration of our ingress traffic is incorrect. We have to correct it and then we're going to be able to access the no-name platform. Okay. All right. I'm going to go back to my terminal and I'm going to navigate under my home folder. Okay. And again, if I do another kubectl get pods -n no name, again, always have that suffix -m no name so you're able to get the appropriate nodes. If you remember what I mentioned in one of the previous recordings, all traffic goes through Nginx. I want to access the user interface, I have to go Nginx, right? I want to access active testing, I have to go through Nginx. I need to access my engine through Nginx, and so on. Okay, so always through Nginx. Now, if you remember, if you remember from one of the previous when we were at the slides, I mentioned that a pod by default has only access to other pods that are installed in the same node. If I would like to provide access, networking access to that pod from within the cluster or within intranet or internet, I have to create a service. I have to create the service, right? And that's how I expose network to the network pods. Now I'm going to tell you right now that the service already exists, right? So if I do the same exact thing, but in this case I'm going to say services, or service will work. Now I get the service, all the different service, and I want you to pay attention to the Nginx service. Here it is. The Nginx service on port 80. It's a cluster IP service. A cluster IP service means that anybody within the cluster has access to the pod. Okay, that's what it means. So if I'm able to configure my ingress traffic so that everything it receives, it is redirected to the Nginx service, then I'm golden and I'm good to go. Okay, I'm golden and I'm good to go. Okay. All right, so the configuration is already present. If I do another tree ns302, yep, you will see that there's two files, simple ingress nginx and simple ingress traefic. Traefic is the only one we need. Nginx is only there to illustrate to you guys that there's very few differences between the two. Okay, so if I do a cat, uh, let's do the ns302 files, simple nginx. Start with nginx. Let's do the same thing for traefic. There we go. So if you pay attention, you will see that the difference is in the metadata. So it's the name, nginx ingress, traefic ingress, and the annotations. That's what differs. Okay, the rules are identical. My rule, at least in my case, in the case for training, it's very simple. It says everything that arrives at the root, I want you to redirect to nginx port 80, to the service nginx port 80. Okay, that's what it says, which is exactly the service that I was showing you earlier on. Okay, now for my purpose, this is enough. Now, if you're in production environment, you probably need to do a lot more than that. Okay, you need to provide a better rule with respect to how you redirect your traffic to your um, no-name platform, right? Maybe through a different host name, who knows? Okay. Okie dokie, different path, right? Different path. Maybe your path will be slash no name, who knows? Okay. For our purposes, we know now that we need to apply the traefic, the simple ingress traefic.yaml. How do you apply that? Well, kubectl apply -f the file, not BS, NS 302. Oh man, I love my typos. Files, simple ingress traefic, like this. But keep in mind, you need to apply to the right namespace. I got burned at all kind of different times, right? This is my second attempt in recording this section because I got burned in my initial attempt, right? So you have to say that I want to apply this ingress to the right namespace, -n, no name. If you don't do that, you're toast. Okay, you're toast. So let's run it, and we're good to go. Now we're good to go. Okay, now we're good to go. I'm going to quickly validate that I have access. I'm going to go back to my browser, and I'm just going to refresh this page. Here it is, right? I refresh this page. I have the appropriate ingress nginx configured. I'm going to select advanced. I'm going to select proceed. I get the login and password. Okay. Now we're going to complete the installation in the next section, right? I know we accessed the no-name platform. This was just a validation that we set up our ingress traefic, not nginx, ingress traefic correctly. Okay. Next section, we conclude the very first exercise, guys, where we're going to access the no-name platform. There's a couple of extra steps in order to complete the installation, like apply the license file and so on. Okay. Section end, my good people, section end.